I'm gonna make a video sort of explaining what I actually do, like what is my job, what is my 9 to 5, because I always make references. But let me just give you the full breakdown, to be honest, because I will know, like, help you guys better gauge what sort of person I am, and maybe even some of you lot know people that do the same thing as me, or maybe even want to get into it because I've been doing it since I was 17 now, and I'm 21. But before we get into it, of course, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe because it helps out a lot. I'm on a mission to make this the full-time grind. But yeah, also, like the video, comment, all that basic YouTube stuff. But let me just give you the full breakdown of, because, right, let me just talk. So when I left school, I knew I didn't want to go to college. I didn't necessarily enjoy school. I passed all my, exams like GCSEs. I'm from England, so we do GCSEs. But I knew I wasn't going to go do A levels, want interest in college. So when I was still in school, I just started applying for apprenticeships because it's like a long process, and I didn't want to leave school and then have nothing, or be forced into college, because I got accepted into college just to make sure I had something. But yeah, I was applying for apprenticeships, and to be honest, it was a bit peak. There wasn't really any people getting back to me. Then I ended up stumbling across. Well, to be honest, I didn't really know what I wanted to go into. Like most people in my situation, if you're a guy from the UK, is either like if you want a straight, like A student, or you weren't super smart, you just went into the blue collar industry. It's just graft. To be honest, you was either on the building site, or like an engineer or repairing cars. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I applied to loads, to be honest. And then I ended up coming across like a property maintenance course. It's like a multi-skilled apprenticeship where you do bricklaying, carpentry, plumbing, plastering, learn the basics of, like the skills of an electrician. And I was like, alright, cool, let me apply for it. Long story short, got offered the job. Done that for 6 months, and obviously I couldn't drive, but all the jobs we were doing, they were very far from where I live. There was like up and down motorways, like hours away. Sometimes we have to go to Cornwall, and that's 3 hours from where I live. I couldn't drive, but I done my CBT, so I had a moped, so I could get around locally, or if it's safe enough roads to do so. But I couldn't go on dual carriageways or motorways or nothing like that. But the people I was working with, it was all they lived like 30, 40 minutes from me. So I had to get picked up every day. So after like 6 months, apparently it started to become a problem, even though they were made fully aware of it. It started to become a problem. So I ended up leaving to be honest, before they sacked me, because they probably would have sacked me because I couldn't get to work, even though it was all agreed that I was going to get picked up because I was learning to drive. And then, well, like 2 months after I left, or a month and a half after I left, ended up getting my license. But I left the job and I went into the motor trade, which is repairing cars. I'm not a mechanic. Most people would say, oh, if I say I can fix cars, they're like, oh, you're a mechanic. No, like I don't do mechanics. Never have. But it was something, I guess, to a degree similar in sort of the concept of what I was doing beforehand. It was a multi-skilled apprenticeship. So I was stripping the cars, the bumpers, the doors, wings, bonnets, tailgates. Also paneling the cars, so repairing the dents and the damage, and then paint them as well. Well, that was the end process. Was doing that for 3 years, done the whole apprenticeship. It was good. I learned a lot there. But after about 2 years, I wanted to just become a paint sprayer. But the business that I was working for, they didn't really allow for that. Like they say like you can pick one at the end, but if your manager knows you can do the job from start to finish, obviously he's gonna try and utilize that. But I wanted to become a paint sprayer. That was it. So after 3 years, I'd done the whole entire apprenticeship. I just didn't do my endpoint assessment for a few reasons. People that take apprenticeships in England, or something similar, they probably know where, like, they say you have to pay it back if you don't stay for a certain period of time. And then I ended up, going on as an improver at a site that my older brother works as an estimator. My brother's a panel beater, my dad's the operations director. It's not his own business, but I ended up going there and just becoming a paint sprayer, which was ideal. It started off great, some of you guys may know the story. I ended up going for a proper rough patch where I couldn't really do my job. I was just fucking everything up. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was literally making a mess of every single job. It was this wasn't like a hard time. I wasn't like struggling mentally. I just fucking hated my job for a bit. I was like, great, I'm gonna go into this paint booth and I'm gonna fuck this job up. I know full well I'm going to fuck it up. But no one was helping me. So I was an improver. I was just gonna train up and sort of go for my ATA, which is like a qualification, like you're a fully qualified paint sprayer. But because I had a couple guys come down and help me, and one of them worked at the college he didn't work at the college, but he worked with the college I go to now. And he said to me, as like, mate, because I could do the job, I had all the knowledge, but skill wise, I was probably like 70% of the way there. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know, but I want to stay humble. It was that, to be honest, you're probably not gonna gain any knowledge from the guys on your site, because it's like individual bonus. So like, you can make extra money if you claim over your hours. I'm not gonna go into it because it won't mean a lot to you lot, but obviously they want to do their job. They want to make money, which I fully understand. So it's like, we can put you on to an apprenticeship and you can start it from the second year. But I was like, oh yeah, like that'd be not ideal, because that's all the knowledge I need to pick up is like the last few things. But the college said that you can come on, but you have to go from right from the start because of the theory and the paperwork. You can't go for your EPA without it. And they said you won't be able to catch up because there's just so much of it from the first year. So, long story short, I ended up starting an apprenticeship, or I am on an apprenticeship right from the start. And I'm talking, some of the people don't even know what a spray gun is. And I've been painting the side of vehicles. It's Thursday the 4th right now. I think this will probably go out Monday maybe. And tomorrow, I'm painting half the side of a car. So when I go is alright. There's not really much stress. It's alright. It's pretty easy, but it's alright because it's just chill, I guess. But that's sort of like the rundown. There's so much lore to my life, like my job and my 9 to 5. Like, I once said I was gonna quit when I was at my first body shop to do the side hustles full time. I have so many stories. If you lot want me to like sort of tell you some stories, because like, this journey I've been on is crazy. Like, it's so mental. The fact that I was gonna leave my job for a side hustle that I don't even do anymore because I was just being gaslit into believing certain things that just aren't true. Yeah, it's mad. It's funny, real funny, but yeah. Well, that was the end of the video. To be honest, I just wanted to like give you lot some actual like details on my life, because I know like I speak in a way sometimes where some people may think like, oh, he probably don't work a 9 to 5, but I actually do. I go into my 9 to 5 tomorrow, been there all week. I still ask my boss for days off, all that stuff. But one day, God willing, all that will stop and we'll be doing YouTube full time, and I'll be able to reflect back on old videos and think, damn, I remember them days. But yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and do let me know if you want to like me to give more like, I guess, story times on my life, because I'm just a normal, regular guy with some pretty cool stories. I even went to Thailand for a whole entire month. Yeah, I can tell you how that even happened because it's crazy. But I'll catch you on the next one.